And so to show you a couple different things here, I'm just going to go ahead and turn off geocoding result clients. And so again, geocoding result clients, this layer that I just turned off, I'll turn back on here really quick, are the ones that I geocoded using the Maryland roads, the MD roads locator, and that reference data. So I can come in here and I can geocode that layer once again, and instead of using my address locator, I can use North America Geocode Service, so I can use this to geocode in the United States and Canada, other parts of North America. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And so when that opens up, you'll notice that the address field, again, I have to specify what it is, because this is an address locator. They could potentially use address data from anywhere in North America, and whoever is geocoding against it with their table, we're geocoding our working clients table. Someone else may be geocoding another table with their address information located in a different field. In this case, mine is in address underscore, so I want to specify that. And it automatically knows to look for city, state, and zip in the fields that I have set up in that table. And then zip +4, I don't need to worry about that because I'm only doing 5-digit zip code geocoding. And then what country, again, I'm just going to leave as none. I don't have a country field in my data anyway, so I'm just going to leave as none. But if I did have a country field, I could use that to specify whether I wanted to geocode my addresses that were in Mexico, United States, Canada, for example. So again, I want to specify where the location of my shapefile is going to be. And so again, I don't want to take the default here and let this be called geocoding result. I'm going to call this one clients, but I'm going to call it clients underscore ArcGIS underscore online. So that's an indicator to me that I've geocoded these clients with ArcGIS Online's address locators. So I'm going to go ahead and say save, and I'm going to say OK here. And we'll see how we do with their geocoding. We did about 92 addresses in the last geocode, and you can see we're at about 123. So there's only 2 that it wasn't able to find. So we can see, as I mentioned earlier, my Maryland roads layer is an older layer, not up to date. It's a static shapefile, probably maybe 10 years old at this point. And so some of the newer addresses may not actually show up. You see that a couple of the other addresses in my table were actually not in Maryland. And if I zoom to the extents here, you can see Maryland gets really small and all the points are geocoded. But there's that Florida address that I wasn't able to geocode earlier because my address locator for MD roads was just for that Maryland shapefile. The ArcGIS Online locators is using data from all over the United States and other parts of North America, so it can locate those points. So again, just wanted to illustrate the different ways that we can use the different locators. But for argument's sake, for the purposes of demo, I'm going to remove that, and we're just going to use the points that we have here to do a spatial join to wrap up this demo. And again, this is more coming full circle back to our joins and relates module a couple of modules ago, simply because in that one I demonstrated how to do relates and how to do tabular joins. In this case, I want to do a spatial join. So reaching back to that. So if I turn off these MD counties really quick, I'm just going to zoom into a couple of these points here, and I'm going to identify tool on one of them. So this happens to be one location, geocoded 4100 Maple Avenue in Maryland. And you can see that that particular customer, when they came in, over the course of a year, for example, this spent field might contain expenditures for a given year by customer. They spent over $7,500 in my establishment. So if I were to open that up in the table, I could see that for each customer, I have that information in a spent column, how much each of those different customers spent. And you can see we've got some low values, we've got some high values. So let's say that I just wanted to find out, according to these geocoded addresses, where all my customers are coming from specifically, and also where the most amount of money is coming from based on these geocoded points. So remember what our rule of thumb was when we did joins and relates. Whatever you want to join to is what you want to right click on. So I've clicked on MD counties. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say joins and relates, and I'm going to do a join. In this case, I'm not going to join attributes from a table. I want to join the attributes or the data from one layer based on spatial location. So we're going to see that this is going to change. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the attribute information from the points, and I want to join them to these polygons based on what polygons they intersect with. So what that's going to produce is a new shapefile of counties polygons of counties that tells me how many points fall within each of the individual counties, but I can also indicate other statistical values for the numeric attributes. In this case, the numeric attribute that I'm interested in is spent. I want to know a total of all of my customers. I want to know how many customers I have in each county, and I want to know how much they spent in total. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate that I want the sum of any of the numeric attributes. And of course, spent is one of those numeric attributes. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to say clients. I'm actually not going to call this clients, I'm sorry. I'm going to call this MD counties underscore clients. That way I know that this new Maryland county shapefile has my client information attached to it. So when I say OK, I'm going to run that spatial join. And you can see that it changes colors, and that's simply because the yellow layer is covered up. So I'll just turn that off, and then this is the new Maryland counties layer that I'm interested in. And now I can click on any one of those layers, any one of those polygons, excuse me, and I can see that it's giving me a count that I have 18 customers within that particular county, and those 18 customers spent over $61,000 in a given year, in a given time span, depending on what time frame that spent attribute was for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn on my geocoding clients. They actually are turned on. I'm just going to take them and drag them on top, and we can see we say that we have 18 points here. All right, so we have a count of 18, and so it doesn't look like there are 18 points there. But if I turn off these polygons, just give myself some reference here. If I click on any one of these points, you can see that the eye tool picks up that there are multiple points there. So that what that is that that address occurred twice in the table, and so that might be multiple visits from the same client. So that particular client in one visit spent over $4,700, and then on another visit they spent $5,675. Again, turning on my clients here for some reference, what I can do is I can set just my selectable layers to be just the geocoding result. So when I come back over here and I click on that, it's not going to accidentally click on the larger polygon. So what I have here is several customers at this one point location. Okay, and so it's not actually several customers. You can see that this might be multiple times that a customer came in. So it geocoded their address several times. And so we're looking at several instances of that customer coming in, and then they spent different amounts of money each time that they came in. So what that spatial join did is looked at all those individual points, totaled them up, and it turns out that there were 18 of them in this particular county, and then a total of $61,661 in expenditures. So that is a sum of the spent field. So when we did that spatial join, we specified all of that. So again, just kind of illustrating here how we're working with the data, not just saying, hey, let's make a bunch of dots on a map, how we can kind of sort of tie it to some of the other analytical things that we've learned along the way. If I wanted to show this Maryland County's client, for example, shapefile according to that spent field, I'm going to say sum spent, and now it's going to break it down. And again, we're getting into classification here like we did a couple of weeks ago in our modules. So it defaults to natural breaks. I'm just going to take the defaults here, and I'm just going to sort of show you the different expenditures across the state according to those geocoded points being spatially joined to the polygon. So when I apply that, I can see, wow, it looks like I've got the highest expenditures in the Baltimore County area, and then the next highest is going to be here in Wycomico and in Dorchester County. A lot of my lower expenditure counties are going to be part of the Eastern Shore, the Southern Maryland area, and then the western part of Maryland. All of our geocoded points pretty much landed in most of these areas here, so we can see that the majority of it is concentrated within the Central Maryland and some of the lower Eastern Shore parts of the state. Some more context. Maybe I own a trailer and boat place somewhere in the Annapolis area, and I'm drawing customers from a lot of the Chesapeake Bay counties who come and patronize my establishment. So I'm selling a lot of trailers and I'm selling a lot of boats to these folks, and so I might be drawing some folks up from the Easton and Cambridge and Salisbury area. A lot of folks in the Baltimore area might be coming to my establishment to spend money and buy my product. Again, just a little bit of context to give you guys. So we can see that we created this choropleth map from the geocoding that we did using our address locator, which ties to MD roads, and of course the original table from our working clients. So that's the demonstration. I'll let you guys work through exercise chapter number 17 is the exercise on geocoding, and then you're going to want to reference the assignment number 6, which you're going to have to create your own address table. You're going to have to geocode it, and you're going to have to create another map layout, your final map layout before we get into project work for the semester. So get working on that, and if there are any questions, contact me and we'll move on from there.